Well, the Nightworms package for this December 2024 just arrived, so I think it's time to open up some spooky literary Christmas gifts. Indeed, it's true. It is, in fact, the middle now of December 2024, and I'm spending this Advent season desperately scrambling to try to catch up with my Goodreads reading challenge for the year. I'm a little bit behind, but getting there bit by bit, and hopefully I'll make it. But, of course, the Nightworms package for this December has just arrived, so I've got some new books to add to that reading list. Nightworms is, of course, the horror book subscription service. Every month they send us one of these little black pouches with some wonderful horror literary goodness. I like to open those up here on the channel, show y'all what I got at the same moment as I discover it. And then, obviously, I've not read them yet, but we can discuss as much as I know of them from the cover or the description. And then later on, as I read the books, I do review everything that I read here on this channel. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you can come back and catch my review videos when those come out. I should also point out, if you happen to be interested in any of the books that do come out of this package, I've put convenient purchase links for you right down there in the What's It, so you can get copies for yourselves while also supporting my work here on this channel, all of which is very much appreciated. But we're not here for me to advertise. We're here to figure out what's in this wonderful little Christmas gift that I've received from the Nightworms people. So let's dive right in and find out. The first one to come out is a book entitled The Darkest Night. This is edited by award-winning author Lindy Ryan, and it mentions a bunch of names. Josh Malerman, Rachel Harrison, Darcy Coates, Christy Demister, Christopher Golden, Eric LaRocca, Jamie Flanagan, and more. These are chilling stories from the biggest names in horror, it says. So we have an anthology. I always like an anthology because almost always, well, let's say almost never do I like 100% of the stories, but there's usually, if it's a good anthology, there's usually something good. And very frequently, it's a way for me to sample some authors that I might not otherwise have heard of or discovered or read. This one seems like it might be holiday themed. Let's read the description and see what we're in for. It says, from some of the biggest names in horror comes an advent calendar of short holiday horror stories perfect for the darkest nights of the year. I was correct. Edited by award-winning, etc., etc., etc. Mentions a bunch of the people in it. And then it says, from New York Times bestselling author of Bird Box, Josh Malerman, comes a story of a dark Christmas past in Children Aren't the Only Ones Who Know Where the Presents Are Hidden. From national bestselling author Rachel Harrison, in Thaw, a couple spends their first Christmas together in a cabin. But are they alone, or does something else watch them from the tree line? New York Times bestselling authors Christopher Golden and Tim Lebbin's Wintry Blue sets an innocent child on the road with a strange and monstrous creature. From the Bram Stoker award-winning screenwriter of Netflix's Haunting of Bly Manor and The Fall of the House of Usher, in Jamie Flanagan's Bruiser, something sinister stalks the chilling hallways of a nursing home at night. Author of Such a Pretty Smile, Christy Demister tells a story of Eggnog. A Christmas party, an over-friendly female co-worker, and an angry wife are the recipe for a deadly cocktail party. Plus stories by Nat Cassidy, Darcy Coates, Clay McLeod Chapman, Tim Wagoner, and many more, with an introduction by George C. Romero, and art by renowned British horror artist, Mr. Sam Sheeran. So I'm pretty excited to dive into this. It did mention that it's an advent calendar of stories. Of course, we're already halfway through the Advent season, so that wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for this year. But let me see if I can count the tales and see if it actually is an Advent calendar or if they were speaking metaphorically. So we have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we have 22 stories, along with some poetry and some artwork. So it's not quite an advent calendar, although it's close, but nevertheless an anthology of holiday-themed horror stories, which I always like this time of year, and this is one that I had not yet read or purchased, so I'm excited to dive into this. Quite possibly as one of those ones that I read in the next couple of weeks, trying to catch up with my Goodreads reading challenge. So that's a worthy addition to my library. Let's see, the next thing to come out is the little goodie bag. We'll get to that in a moment. There's something thick in there too. We'll get to that in a moment. That's all the non-book stuff that comes in these pouches. But there is another book. It's a hardcover, a small one. It's called Cold Snap, also by Lindy Ryan. So we have a consistency in authorship. The author of this one was the editor of this one. It looks like we also have a certain consistency of theme in that this seems like a wintry sort of a tale, but it's not one that I'm familiar with, so let's read the description here too. It says, 2 weeks ago, Christine Sinclair's husband slipped off the roof while hanging Christmas lights and fell to his death on the front lawn. So it is a Christmas story. Heartwarming beginning, is it not? Anyway, carrying on, it says, desperate to escape her guilt and her grief, Christine packs up her 15-year-old son and the family cat and flees to the cabin they'd reserved deep in the remote Pennsylvania wilds to wait out the holidays. It isn't long before Christine begins to hear strange noises coming from the forest. When she spots a horned figure watching from between frozen branches, Christine assumes it's just a forest animal. A moose, maybe, since the property manager warned her about them. Said they'd stomp a body so deep into the snow nobody'd find it till spring. Is true. Moose are bigger than you think, but carrying on, it goes on to say, but moose don't walk upright like this shadowy figure does. And they don't call Christine's name with her dead husband's voice. So it seems that we're in for some supernatural horror. A short little book, but holiday themed, even if not particularly festive in its beginning. But this is the time of year at which I think we're so desperate to be festive that a lot of times these kinds of accidents and depression and those kinds of things happen. Maybe it seems like they happen more this time of year because of the contrast with what we hoped this season would be, or maybe our desperation for this to be such a joyous season ends up leading into those kinds of things. Either way, I'm feeling pretty joyous and festive this time of year, at least this year, but I'm aware that there is that side to these long wintry nights. But regardless of all that, I am intrigued. I do kind of like that it's a little one because, well, usually I like a big, thick doorstop of a book, but I am trying to get through several more books to meet that Goodreads goal, so a nice short novella is perhaps just what the doctor ordered. And in fact, that's true with both of these because they seem seasonally appropriate, so these are very likely to be at the top of my reading list for the next couple of weeks. But of course we're not finished. There's this suspiciously thick little goodie package. Let's quickly go through these and see what other wondrous gifts we've received. The first, and what made it thick, was the beverage. This is from Haunted Cups Coffee. It's called Sugar Skull. It says, what flavor is this? It's called Sugar Skull, and the caption says it's Death by Sugar Cookies, which does seem appropriate to this time of year, so seasonally appropriate books and seasonally appropriate beverage. And I've said before, usually I'm just a plain black coffee kind of guy, but I think this might be in order for this season, so I'm looking forward to sampling that as well. What else do we have? We have the monthly bookmark. It tells us that the theme for this month is Winter Frightmare. Every month they give us a bookmark with some themed artwork, and it tells us the theme for the month. There is also the little pamphlet that lists all the items in there. We have a sticker that says Home for the Holidays, a larger sticker than usual. If you like stickers, there's always one or two in these packages. The artwork on this one, at a glance, looks very festive. We've got a house and a Christmas tree and things. It does say home for the holidays. But as soon as you look for more than a second, you see there are bloodstains, and this is not a scene from The Shining, but it kind of is reminiscent of a scene from The Shining. So, a seasonally appropriate yet still creepy sticker. The next item is a autographed book plate that goes to Cold Snap, turning this into an autographed copy, which is always wonderful. I do collect autographed books, so I like getting the book plate. Makes it an even nicer gift. The next one is another sticker. We have another one of these ghosts. That's been a theme in these packages of late. We have these ghosts reading books. This one has got a Santa hat. Dr. McCoy and I approve. And he's reading a book inside a cup of coffee with candy canes and things. So, again, seasonally appropriate. It is Christmas, or I should say Advent, for the ghosts as well, after all. And is there anything else? There is, in fact, not anything else. So that brings this month's package and this video to a conclusion. This was probably a brief one. I haven't prattled on as long as I sometimes do, but I have a lot of reading to do. I'm trying to get caught up on some business as well, and, well, the Advent season is a busy time of year. There's shopping to do, there's baking to do, of course there's reading to do, and, well, keeps me busy enough that I think I've carried on quite long enough, so I'm going to sign off, reminding you, as always, do all the YouTubey things, subscribe, ring the bell, leave me a comment, and so forth, but most importantly of all, in case we don't see each other again before the holiday, have a Merry Christmas, and as always, take care and stay scared.